Hello everyone, DMFF here, and today I bring you my tier list for this Kaiba Corporation Cup. So, I'm going to break it into 3 tiers, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. And the decks in Tier 1 are going to be the most likely to succeed in the KC Cup and grant you that number 1 spot. Tier 2, you will definitely see on the ladder to KC Cup, and are still very competent decks and can absolutely get the Tier 1 decks. They just won't be as consistent or as popular as the Tier 1 decks. And Tier 3 are very high potential decks that see play but aren't going to be as good due to nerfs or just being older in general. So first we'll go straight to Tier 1. First we'll have Blackwings. Shamoon, the Poison Wind, is probably one of the best cards in this deck. I would highly recommend running 3 and 3 Black Whirlwind. This is a very expensive deck, so if you do not have the cards, I would advise building something else in the Tier 1 category. Next, we have Darklords. Darklords just got nerfed and are still very powerful. They can still set up that OTK potential and continuously recycle their cards. I would highly advise running 2 Cosmic Cyclones. You can do what you can for tech cards. Invoked is the next list. There's multiple ways to play Invoked, but this is the way that is Tier 1. This is Invoked with Scrap Goblin and Flip-Flop Frog. Synchro into Black Rose, blow up the field. Then you can fuse into your Megalonica and easy OTKs with this deck. You can add whatever tech cards you would like. Lava Golem is a good tech card now with Purgatrio coming out in the newest box, so that's something to consider. And then last on the Tier 1 list is Ritual Beast. The addition of adding Plasma to the deck has greatly impacted how powerful it is. And guess what? It is now Tier 1 because of that beautiful tech. Draw Sense High Level, or the Aster skill that I can't remember. But Destiny Hero Plasma, guys. Negate all monster effects on the field while your opponents control them is very strong, and counters Invoked pretty well. Next, we move on to the Tier 2 decks, which are still great decks, and I highly recommend them if you have the cards for them. First on the list is going to be Fortune Lady. Fortune Lady is still a very great deck, has been lingering around Tier 2, Tier 3 for quite some time since they were released. Super Buddy is definitely good in Fortune Lady as a tech option. I definitely would recommend running Floodgates and Canadias if you have them for disruption purposes. Enemy Controller is a must and is perfect with every. Next on the list, we have Amano Stun, which has been on and off the tier list in general for Duel Links meta. And it's a great deck. It shuts down a lot of decks, and you can do some really spicy things. I've seen some Garzette versions. You can do all sorts of different stuff. Good control deck. Can definitely run into some snags if you don't get the cards that you need, but if you do, chances are you're going to win the game. And then the last deck in Tier 2 is going to be the improved Inzektors with the addition of Hornet. Hornet is an excellent card and definitely gives this deck a lot more power. Coupling Centipede with Hornet is very strong. It's played with Neos. I would highly recommend playing some Inzektors. Next, we have Tier 3, which aren't going to be as popular, but are definitely going to be strong enough to play in the KC Cup and succeed. The first deck in Tier 3 is going to be Crystrons. Crystrons are a very good deck, but take a lot of skill to play. They require thinking, and are pretty fun overall. I would definitely recommend playing Crystrons if you are used to them and you really enjoy the archetype. The next deck on the list, and to receive some pretty recent support, would be Magnets. Magnets are faring quite well with their new field spell. And I would definitely recommend playing them as well if you are used to playing them and you enjoy them. They, of course, are going to have some shortcomings as well, and not really some consistency issues, but their power level isn't quite as high as some of the other decks in the higher tiers. Next on the list is Blue Eyes, with the new Blue Eyes skill, alternate evolution on the Dark Side of Dimensions Kaiba. It has been power crept a little bit, but the deck is still quite consistent and can still do the things that it used to be able to do. If you have Blue Eyes and like it, go ahead and give it a try. And lastly, we have Ancient Gears. Ancient Gears have been on and off the tier list from Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 and off, and I would say currently they fare quite well against a lot of the meta. Flip-Flop Frog? Oh, see you later. You're not activating your effect today. It has been ran as Invoked. It has been ran in multiple different ways. You decide what way you would like to play it. I really like straight-up Ancient Gears. I really like having a Sazonk and a Breaker, the Magical Warrior in mine. The list on the screen is going to be my list for Ancient Gear anyway. So those are going to be the decks in the tier list. The following are what I feel are going to be really high potential tech cards for this KC Cup, and I highly recommend that you run these following cards in some way, shape, or form in your deck, if you can fit them. Sphere Karibo, Floodgate Trap Hole, Canadia, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, Cosmic Cyclone, Drowning Mirror Force, Treacherous Trap Hole, and finally, Enemy Controller. Anyway, guys, this has been my tier list for the KC Cup. I hope you enjoyed it. Either way, good luck in the tournament. I'll see you there. Have a wonderful day.